Welcome to Arina Photography. Come on into my kitchen studio, pull up a chair, make yourself at home, and don't mind the cookie crumbs while I pour us both some coffee. I started out as a food photographer, but somewhere along the way, I began sharing recipes, baking tips, and even some behind-the-scenes disasters from my kitchen and studio. And now, we've somehow landed here together in podcast form, which honestly feels a little like inviting you right into my kitchen. So today we're talking about Christmas, baking, and gifting, and why starting earlier than you think might just save your sanity in December. Yes, I said early, like August early. Stick with me, I'll explain. And don't worry, all the recipes and tools I mention here will be linked in the podcast notes. Let's rewind a bit. This whole Christmas cookie box thing didn't start because I was super organized. Nope. It started during a year when money was tight. I had this long list of friends, family, and coaches I wanted to give gifts to, and the budget just didn't stretch that far. I couldn't buy fancy presents, but I could bake, so I rolled up my sleeves, turned on the oven, and filled little boxes with cookies. You know what happened? People loved it. More than the store-bought gifts from other years. It was thoughtful, homemade, and honestly, it felt like I was giving away a piece of myself. That year, without even realizing it, I created our family tradition. Now, years later, my daughter helps me mix dough, decorate cookies, and, let's be real, eat about half the sprinkles before they ever make it onto the cookies. Those flour-covered, sugar-filled afternoons together, that's the best gift of all. Okay, so here's the part where people usually laugh. I start planning in August. Yep, before pumpkin spice season even kicks in. Why? Because the year I tried to squeeze everything into the 2 weeks before Christmas, it was a nightmare. My kitchen looked like a snowstorm hit it. I was frazzled, and my poor family was afraid to even ask what was for dinner. So now I spread it out. Think of it like training for a marathon. You don't run it all the night before, you pace yourself. Christmas baking is my marathon, only with more sugar and fewer blisters. And now that I've been implementing this schedule for years, it runs pretty much flawlessly. I don't panic shop for ingredients anymore. I don't stay up until 2 a.m. frantically decorating cookies. And my family actually enjoys the process with me instead of hiding from the kitchen chaos. It feels smooth, festive, and dare I say, fun, which is exactly how the holidays should be. Here's how I break it down. And imagine I'm just telling you this over coffee with a little plate of cookies between us. August. This is my brainstorming month. I pull out my notebook, start sketching ideas for what will go in the cookie boxes, and make my gift list. I admit I doodle gingerbread, men, and candy canes in the margins, like I'm back in school. Half the fun is dreaming it up, and it keeps me excited for what's coming. I also make sure to plan for a few extra boxes, because every year we seem to make new friends along the way, and it's nice to have a little something for them too. September, I call this dough month. It's when I get elbow deep in flour and butter and mix up big batches of cookie dough. Then into the freezer they go. Did you know dough stays fresh for up to 2 months? It feels like I'm tucking away little cookie time capsules. This is the month when my freezer starts looking like a full-on bakery, stacked with bags and containers of dough. I actually keep an upright garage freezer that's built to handle temperature swings, and I highly recommend it. It's a lifesaver when you're baking on this scale. Another tip, since I bake a lot, I protect my hands by wearing disposable gloves. And for storage, jumbo freezer bags with a Sharpie are essential. Don't forget to write what's in the bag and the date. Otherwise, you'll end up with a mystery dough situation in December, and trust me, no one wants to play Guess That Cookie when the holiday rush is on. And honestly, opening the freezer later and finding ready-to-bake dough is like winning the holiday jackpot. Late October and November. The ovens finally come alive. This is when the house smells like butter and sugar nonstop. I bake trays and trays of cookies, and the kitchen starts to feel like a little bakery of its own. Once the cookies come out of the oven, I keep it simple. Let them cool completely on wire racks. No shortcuts here. Otherwise, you'll end up with soggy bottoms or melted icing later. After cooling, I stack them by the same shapes in jumbo Ziploc freezer bags. Don't forget again to label what's inside the bag and the date. I personally reuse the same bags from dough. Just cross out the old date and write the new one with a big black Sharpie. Into the freezer they go until decorating day, safe and sound. By this point, my freezer is basically exploding with Christmas cookies, stacked so high that sometimes my family has to dig past sugar cookies just to find a bag of frozen peas. There's something magical about walking through the door and being hit with that warm cookie smell. And the kids, they start circling the kitchen like hungry sharks, hoping one tray accidentally gets forgotten and left out for sampling. Do you remember in August we did the count of how many boxes we need? Well, right now it's also time to start gathering all those finishing touches. That means buying your boxes, ribbons, and personalized Christmas labels so you're not running around at the last minute. Trust me, nothing kills the Christmas mood faster than realizing you have 200 cookies ready to go, but no boxes to put them in. Having your packaging ready not only makes things smoother, it also lets you enjoy the fun part, filling them up with cookies and tying them with pretty bows. Think of it as dressing your cookies up for gifting. Late November and early December, out comes the royal icing, sprinkles, piping bags, and of course holiday music. My daughter and I usually turn decorating into a whole event. We crank up the Christmas playlist, sometimes sing along off-key, and the kitchen ends up looking like a powdered sugar blizzard passed through. We make a mess, we laugh, and somehow the cookies turn out beautiful anyway. It's not just a little decorating station. At this point, my whole house basically turns into Santa's workshop. Even my poor photography studio gets roped into cookie decorating duty. I'll set up tables with bowls of colored icing and sprinkles everywhere, and my daughter usually claims the job of chief taste tester. Half the fun is seeing how creative or chaotic the designs get. Some cookies look ready for a magazine cover, others look like they need a little extra love, but together they make the boxes feel homemade and personal. Keep in mind that royal icing takes a lot longer to dry than chocolate icing. If you're in a time crunch, chocolate icing is your best friend. It sets in about 30 minutes. Royal icing, on the other hand, can take up to 48 hours if you flood a cookie completely. The more icing you pile on, the longer it needs to set. So plan accordingly if you don't want sticky cookies sticking together. Another tip, I individually package cookies with stronger flavors, like peppermint, before putting them into the gift boxes. For that, I use self-sealable cookie bags. It keeps those powerful flavors from sneaking into the other cookies and ensures every bite tastes just as intended. And finally, I also make a big basket of individually wrapped cookies, just for my daughter to give away to her teammates and classmates. It's become its own little tradition. And honestly, the kids look forward to it every year. By the second week of December, every box is packed, tied with ribbon, and stacked high on the counter, ready to be delivered. No stress, just joy, maybe a few sprinkles stuck to the dog, and always a whole lot of laughter in the process. Because I'm a food photographer, you know I can't resist sharing A few quick tips if you want to snap photos of your holiday baking before gifting it away. Natural light is your best friend. Afternoon sunlight makes those cookies glow. Add props, ribbon, pine sprigs, or even a mug of cocoa in the background. Instant holiday mood. Take pictures before you package everything. Trust me, plastic wrap is nobody's friend on Instagram. And here's a secret. Don't be afraid of a little mess in your photos. A few sprinkles scattered on the table. A hand reaching for a cookie. It all tells the story. My favorite shot one year wasn't the perfectly styled tray. It was my daughter stealing a gingerbread man when she thought I wasn't looking. So, that's my not-so-secret plan for Christmas baking. Start earlier than feels normal, don't aim for perfection, and enjoy the process. Because at the end of the day, the cookies are delicious, but the memories, they're what make it magical. If you want to give this a try, start small, maybe just one batch of dough in the freezer this week. You'll thank yourself later. Thanks for hanging out with me today. You'll find the recipes and tools in the podcast notes. And if you want to try my Christmas recipes, you can visit my YouTube and my blog at Arina Photography to see the cookies and even a few behind the scenes flops. Until next time, happy baking, happy planning, and remember, cookies don't judge if you eat them for breakfast.